So we've been conditioned, guys. Guess what? We've been told that our feelings are wrong. Like I was told this endlessly. Like you have the wrong feelings, you're too much, you're too. And so it was just this constant like I don't know. Basically, someone else knows.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling wrong about this.
And I think that's the key part when we're talking about the growth of a child, where you start with, you have no idea because you're a baby. And then you start to get these feelings.
Welcome to Elevated Life, Real Wellness and Transformation Podcast, where we walk alongside the internally driven individual as they transform their life through wellness, movement, mindset, and personal responsibility. If that's you, you're in the right place. Let's jump in.
Today, we are talking about the guru fallacy, where it comes from and how to recognize it. If you've listened to our podcast much, we don't always know where we're going to go when we start. The idea behind this one, though, is we're sticking pretty specifically to health and fitness.
Yeah.
We're not getting into a bunch of religious gurus or spiritual beliefs or something. That may come on another podcast. But this one is more around health and fitness.
Yeah, and what inspired this podcast? Because, we talk about things, listeners for a long time have known this, that are happening in our current life, right? That's what we talk about and how we deal with it. But this came up because I am on tons of health and fitness forums, and what I see over and over again is the protein conversation. And I can't hit my protein. What do? I feel sick if I'm eating 130 grams of protein, but I'm trying to push through all these things. And, you scroll through the comments like, too bad, or this is how you could spread it out throughout the day, or whatever that is. And I just was thinking, why are we constantly looking for things outside of ourselves? What does that come from? And where did it start? And how can we as a collective start moving? And I know this is like a big thought for just protein eating, but it covers so many things. How can we start moving into listening to our bodies and what we need specifically? And so that's basically how this podcast was inspired. So we are going to talk about where it came from. And weird, guess what, you guys? Everybody answer at the same time.
Hold on, before we get there. So we'll give you a moment to ponder if you need that. Let's talk about what a guru is.
Oh, yeah.
Before we jump in and do the big reveal of where it came from. It can be a little confusing between like a guru and an expert and somebody that just has information. And they can kind of get muddled. The easiest way I like to think of what we're talking about with a guru is somebody that does present information, but they present it as essentially infallible fact.
Right.
I know because whatever reason, whatever credentialism they're going to give themselves, whether it's school or lived experience or whatever, I know this is the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Versus somebody that just is going to say, hey, I've looked into this a bunch, or I've been a personal trainer for 20 years and this is what I've seen.
Right. Yeah,
and
this is the pattern.
So I want to give you this information.
Right.
The guru specifically that we're talking about is that, no, I know more than you. I am right and you are wrong if you don't follow everything I say.
Right. Yes.
So that's what we're talking about. So, drum roll, where does this come from?
I hate saying this, you guys, but you already know. Your childhood.
What?
Yeah, it turns out we actually need to look into our childhood and realize that we were programmed. And so, yes, we're going to jump into this.
Yeah.
You want to jump in?
No, go ahead. I feel like I've talked a lot already.
Oh, wow. Is your throat getting sore? You need to breathe a little. I just don't want to cut you off. So as humans, obviously, we're born completely dependent. When we're kids, we need to rely on authority figures, our caregivers, our teachers, all of those things. So our nervous system learns very early that authority equals safety and truth, right? So it starts there, and that's natural, right?
And valuable.
Totally.
I mean, we need
yes,
that.
Obviously, a baby's not like, no, I need to change my diaper myself, right? I mean, the consciousness hasn't, expanded. So we're taught adults know more, adults control safety, or adults approve or disapprove of behavior, right? So the child learns early that the answer is outside of them, right? It's not unhealthy at first, right? But it can turn into survival, right? You can turn into constantly looking for things outside of yourself instead of developing internal trust. And I think a lot of us came from upbringings not because it was nefarious, where we weren't we weren't taught to trust ourselves. I actually think that human consciousness is expanding in a way where this is shifting. We're at the beginning of that shift, but this is absolutely shifting. And definitely for more free range feral parents who are like allowing their kids to jump off the porch and fall and then, do it again and again. So anyway, that's where the genesis of this started.
That's the way that it was. Kids were just on their own. And not just on their own. Parents were still obviously involved, but the expectation was you're going to figure shit out. You're going for it. I'm talking like, let's say 100 years ago.
Sure, because yeah.
And then we got this, I would say, devolution into, oh no, I need to control everything that's going on as the parent.
Right.
And then kids just didn't, again, not for nefarious reasons, but it's super important. We talk about this a lot, but it's super important to understand where it all comes from and not to point fingers, not to find blame, but just to truly understand, oh, this is how that impacted me. Me not being able to, the first thing I thought of when you said jumping off the porch, I thought of like a kid that wants to go outside without their coat on. And, parents are just like, no, you can't do that, whatever. It's fine. And a kid will learn, oh, it's cold. I want to put my coat on.
Yep, exactly.
Those kinds of things.
I think, too, like with the onslaught of the internet, right? And influencers and coaches, you get this in church with religious leaders, political figures. We're always taught to like look outside of ourselves for these answers. And, as children, we heard a lot, especially my generation.
Our generation.
Well, you're a millennial. I'm a Gen Xer. Because I said so, right? Like that's a big thing. So like, no, because I said so. Mm-hmm. That's basically it. So we've been conditioned, guys. Guess what? We've been told that our feelings are wrong. Like I was told this endlessly. Like you have the wrong feelings, you're too much, you're too. And so it was just this constant like, I don't know. Basically, someone else knows.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling wrong about this.
And I think that's the key part when we're talking about the growth of a child, where you start with, you have no idea because you're a baby. And then you start to get these feelings whenever it is, when you're young of, oh no, I think that's okay if I jump off the porch. Right. And then you're told no, because I said. Yeah. So then not only are you seeking that authority from an outside influence, you're squashing your own self-authority.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like that two sides of that, you're relying on something else and also actively diminishing yourself.
Yeah. So then you're constantly on the search for someone who knows better.
Yeah.
Right.
Learn early. Clearly, I don't
Yeah.
know because
Yeah.
I've been told I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't even been given the opportunity to try and know.
Right. So this is how this translates into, that's so deep. And now I'm like, this is how it translates into
protein.
And, because it's not like, it just stops when you're thinking about your life in general. You turn that off.
Right.
So then you're constantly looking for things outside yourself with how you're to fuel your body. So let's specifically talk about health and fitness, or nutrition and fitness.
Hey, quick pause. If this episode is hitting you and you're ready for real tools, here's what we built.
Head on over to cjellevatedlife.com, pick up the Rebuilt Method for Men or the Rebuilt Method for Women, just $67 each. We also created the Parasite Detox Blueprint at $37, and this is actually the exact protocol we use ourselves.
And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get the weekly action steps and new tools we've tested ourselves. Let's get back to the episode.
All right. I really think protein is I know we've harped on it a bunch, but especially right now, it's just everywhere.
It's too much.
It really is.
It's over the top. It's like if you're not licking a steak every second of every day, then you're just, sucking. And the truth is that's not true.
Yeah, we talk all the time about the importance of just listening to your body. And like John was saying at the beginning, if you're almost throwing up because you're trying to get enough protein in because you saw on an Instagram reel that you're supposed to have this much protein, something is off.
Totally. I also don't want to demonize protein, because I'm totally pro protein, and I understand the concept. People are always like, how much protein should I eat? And I always say your goal body weight in protein grams a day. Well, that's a lot of protein. It's a lot. And if you're having digestive issues, if you're feeling like you're over consuming food, your body doesn't feel right, then maybe that's too much for you. And the lie that, then I'm not going to build any muscle because I'm not eating that 130 grams. I can tell you right now that that's not true, because it is very rare that Jonna reaches her, what the gurus say, amount of protein that I should consume. And I have good muscle mass on my body. Am I jacked to the hills and, huge muscles? No, but I have a good amount of muscle on my body. So you can still build muscle.
This is a great example of where you can differentiate between somebody who's presenting themselves as a guru versus somebody that's presenting themselves just presenting information.
Absolutely.
With the protein. If somebody's saying, no, you have to do this, not taking into consideration anything else, then they're probably, toeing into that guru area versus saying, well, here's a guideline.
Yeah.
Because, we need guidelines, but listen to your body. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to look like Mr. Olympia?
Right.
Hey, guess what? Maybe you do have to do that, and you got to stuff it down, and sorry.
Yeah,
that's
if you're a bodybuilder or a physique person, right, then that's different. Then you've got a specific goal, and you're going to have to just...
But that person is still going to say, here's just what the facts are.
Yeah.
If you want, huge arms, you have to do this. Not because I'm saying, because it's, I have this knowledge. It's just, that's the science of it.
Absolutely.
But if you're just somebody who wants to get fit and be able to get up off the ground with your grandkids and, those types of things, then the person that's just giving information is going to say, well, here's a target, so you can have something, but listen to your body, like I just said.
Hopefully, all these people are saying listen to your body, because the truth is when I, eat a ton of protein, it's just, it makes me sick and nauseous. And so I would be completely not listening to my own body, my personal truth about how my body responds to protein, just because homeboy said, oh no, you have to eat 130 grams. So that's what I'm talking about. I had a client who, was trying to hit all of her protein targets and protein, got her liver tested, and her enzymes were skyrocketing, right? So everyone is different. Turns out everyone's different.
If you go back to the idea, though, why we look for gurus, the person that's just presenting information, quick plug for us, pat on our backs, this is what we say, is probably going to say something like, yes, protein's good, eat whole foods.
Yeah. And listen to your body, and prioritize protein. I would say if you're trying to build muscle or just life in general, prioritize protein. But we also get into this with the whole vegan, carnivore.
Yeah,
conversation.
Exactly. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
So when you enter that or include that trust your body piece, then if you haven't gone through this and figured it out, then all of a sudden you're shutting down. Like, I can't trust my body. I need outside not validation, but outside information. I need somebody else to tell me what to do, because that's what I've done my whole life. That's what I know. I need an authority figure. I am not an authority figure.
Yeah.
So I can't trust my body. So now give me exact.
Yeah.
And then that's where you can really fall off, because unless you're working like one-on-one with some sort of a dietitian, nutritionist that checks all your levels and monitors you
and goes into your house and raids your fridge,
like can give you specifics, any sort of specific diet or nutrition guidance is not necessarily going to work for you.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of nutrition, I've seen vegans and vegetarians. I've seen raw foodists with amazing physiques, right? So this whole you can only eat animal protein to get a ripped, shredded body. That's not true. Of course, again, everyone is different. And this also translates over into exercise. We were having the conversation before the podcast where it's like you can only look ripped and shredded if you lift heavy weights. That's the only way. And you guys know that I am so pro lifting, and yes, that has completely transformed my physique. However, I've also seen people who do yoga and massive isometrics and body weight things that have an amazing physique. So it really, again, what works for you? What do you want to do? What is your body telling you to do? Quit outsourcing your power. We say that all the time. And when we say that, we're saying don't negate what your intuition, what your heart, what your body is telling you, because someone out there said, if you're doing this, you're doing it wrong. This is how you do it right. So then you deny your personal truth, you take that on, and you end up in a clusterfuck, right? And then also confusion sets in.
When you're looking, and we've talked about this with picking out a personal trainer, we talked about this on several other podcasts, but when you are actively gathering information around fitness, so that's what we're talking about now. Because a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of you listening have had this thought at one point, like, I just want to be fit. I don't know exactly what that means, but I want to be fit. So when you're seeking information, if it's just, whether it's a one-on-one conversation or, you're looking at YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and it just says, well, you have to lift heavy weights. Well, okay, but what if that's not what it is? What if I want to be fit because I want to do triathlons?
Right.
Yes, resistance training is going to be great, but you can't just work on bench and squat and be a triathlete.
Right. Or what if someone says, only do the compound lifts, don't do anything else because those are the best. And you're like, well, I have a back issue, and so I'm not going to be able to deadlift, or I blew out a knee, and so heavy squats are going to be an issue. Like, anyone who says this is how you do it, I don't care what it is, you're doing it wrong, I know the right way, that's a red flag. If you're looking for guidance from people who really have your best interest at heart, they're going to say, look within. That's what they're going to say. Like, and that doesn't mean don't gather information, but they're always going to lead it back to personal responsibility. Always. What is your body telling you? What is your heart telling you? It's amazing to me how just, as I was reading through what the genesis of this was, why we outsource, how it starts so young and it just covers everything. And so we're literally constantly looking for someone outside of ourselves for every effing thing. Not just, oh my goodness, how much I need someone to tell me exactly how much protein I should be eating. I need someone to tell me exactly what workout I should be doing. I have tried whatever, instead of, I need a politician to tell me exactly how I need to think about something. I need a pastor to tell me about God because I can't figure it out for myself. Yes, you can. You've been conditioned to constantly reach outside yourself. We gave you the reasons why. I know we're talking about health and fitness, but this is just something that is so reoccurring constantly in the health and fitness space. And there's so much talk that everyone gets so confused, right? They're just like, I am a human on a planet and I don't even know how to eat because there's so much information.
Yeah.
Instead of going, I'm on a human, or I'm on a planet, I'm a human, I don't know how to eat because I've been looking for all these sources outside of myself. I'm going to go ahead and listen to my body and go, how does 60 ounces of chicken make my body feel? Oh, like shit, I want to barf. Okay, probably doesn't work for me, right? Or I'm vegan because everyone's telling me to be vegan, but my hair is falling out and my nails are breaking. Maybe that isn't working for you. And also true, the opposite direction.
I see this in fitness too, when like doing whatever lift, and I'll ask somebody, like, how does that make you feel? Where are you feeling that? What is it? Talk to me about what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, well, then you're looking at me to basically lift for you. You're gonna, do the motion, but I need to be doing all of the intricacies for you. When the reality is, you've outsourced those feelings, and what you need to do is bring them back in and really be present and think, okay, where am I feeling this? How do I feel this? And then that's going to be, okay, you can put your hands in 5 different spots and it doesn't really matter. Now because of the way my shoulders are built, I like a little bit wider grip because that doesn't strain as much versus I like a little narrower. Those types that's very detailed, but those are the types of things where you can move away from a guru who just tells you, no, you have to have your ring finger at this spot on a bar because I said, versus somebody who's going to give you information and say, it doesn't really matter, but you have to do it for you, what works for you.
Hey friends, if you're getting something out of this, connect with us on our social media platforms. We're at CJ Elevated Life _ on Instagram and TikTok, and CJ Elevated Life on Facebook and X. We're answering DMs, sharing daily content, and building community with people ready for real transformation. For now, hit subscribe wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We drop 2 new episodes every week. And if this episode resonates, share it. That's how we reach more people who are ready for change. You can also find everything at cjelevatedlife.com. All right, let's keep going.
You said something that is just like, right? And that is, it proves how many people who do not live in their body.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, and they don't even know it. If you are doing a squat or a bench and you can't feel it anywhere, where are you? I really want to know, guys, like, where are you? When you're exercising, it's so important to be present in your body so that you can feel those things. And we talk about mind muscle connection instead of asking, well, where am I supposed to feel it? Right? Because a lot of people say, and I'm going to talk about my squat. Oh no, you're going to feel your squat in your quads and this is how you stand. And here's the deal. I've never had a narrow stance with my squat. I always thought it was wrong because A, B, and C dude told me that it was wrong. And I'm not trying to shit on dudes, but dudes who have never had their hips expand and come back together 5 different times for pregnancy, right? And I just was like, I don't even know how to squat. I went through a phase where I was like, I'm just not going to squat because my feet aren't right. And so I'm wrong. I'm wrong because dude said I was wrong. And then finally, of course, I was looking for something outside of myself, but my body naturally wants to have a wider stance with my feet pointed out. Okay. And I can do good squatting then. And so I finally, I don't remember if it was like a physical therapist. I'm not sure. He was talking about body mechanics and how, guess what he said? Everyone's different. Everyone is different. But I, again, just to digress, I don't feel squats in my quads. I feel it all in my posterior chain. So when people say the best way to build your quads is if you're doing back squats, that's just across the board for everyone. Well, for me, that doesn't work. It doesn't. The best way for me to build my quads now is a heavy goblet squat with my heels elevated on a plate. Like if I want to just tear up my quads, that's what I'm doing. Or walking backwards up a hill. But when I talk to a lot of different people, when they walk backwards up a hill, guess where they're feeling it? In their posterior chain. So we're all different. Weird. So be careful with people who are like, this is the way that you build your quads.
Right. Yeah. I mean, pulling it back to the idea of a guru versus an expert, let's say. I mean, you just highlighted it. The guru is saying this is what you have to do. I love that. Another guy, a dude, by the way, if we're talking about the same person, that shows a great example of how you can get good information from experts that aren't gurus on Instagram.
Totally.
Because he shows, hey, guess what? If your femur is longer, your body mechanics might be a little bit different. So you might feel, or you might look like this, or you might feel it this way. It might feel a little bit different. You might need to try spreading your legs out a little bit more. Try, opening your toes up a little bit more. See how that feels.
Yeah. Instead of the person saying, if your feet aren't right here, then you should.
Wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong, and everything you're doing is wrong, and all the things. So, and you can bring that into any lift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, which is why we constantly are asking people, where do you feel this? Where do you feel your muscles firing? And again, a lot of people's answer at first when you're first learning is, I don't freaking know. And that's just saying, I'm not in my body. I have not been in my body, and now I'm starting to be in my body, and that feels weird. So
I just had I think it's interesting, but tying things back, thinking about the example I used before about a kid like going outside with no coat on, when it's whatever. Somebody else perceives it to be cold, so they say, you have to put a coat on. And you're like, I'm not cold. Why do I have to wear a coat when you're cold?
Yeah.
It's that same kind of thing with exercise, with nutrition. It's just fascinating to see how everything can be tied back to
every
that.
single thing. And it's crazy because when you use that coat analogy, it literally, when you do that to your kids, you are teaching them to not trust themselves, right? So let your kid go outside with no coat and he will learn. Or yeah, it's not like he's unfeeling. I mean, kids are more aware than adults. That's just the facts. If he gets cold, he's going to come back and get one.
This is a good opportunity to dig in a little bit more to this when we're talking about, if we go with the coat thing, and specifically, word was hard for me, exercise or lifting weights especially. There are scenarios, if it's 50 below and your kid is trying to go outside for an hour in shorts and a t-shirt, then you got to say, nope, okay, I'm going to step in here and you have to put more clothes on. This is just the way that it is. So if we keep going with the squat analogy, it could be that you cannot hunch your back if you're doing a back squat. And that's not a guru saying, no, I know that you can't do that. It's literally, you will get injured if you do that. So there's some things, the nuance, like you said, of where your feet are, or if it's 50 degrees outside, your kid's probably going to be fine with no coat, kind of a thing. And then some areas where it's just, no, this is a non-negotiable. If you're going to deadlift, you, like you said, you can't peel up off the floor, or you're going to injure yourself.
The goal is to be self-aware enough to know when to do that.
Exactly.
And when not to, right? So that's, unless your kid is like, studying Wim Hof method, you know what I mean? Oh, but anyway, we're saying all this, guys, because in terms of just, we're talking about protein. I mean, we talked about a lot of things, but specifically with your nutrition and the protein, rage and the fitness noise in terms of body movement, ask yourself what you need. If you have not done that and your body's telling you, well, my body says that I need donuts and, whatever, that's different. You're probably not even listening to this podcast, actually. Or your body's telling you to sit your ass on the couch for the 15th day in a row, right? There's nuance to all of this, but I want you to listen to yourself and quit reaching out for outside authority figures that say this is the only way to get to your goal. That's not true. Everyone's different. Right. Oh, totally.
Me as the well-known guru and all of time or whatever, you can't find shit with me.
Yeah.
You have to go inward.
That's how you found a good, and I hate using the word guru because I feel like it's like there's so much religious context around that, but an expert on anything is going to tell you to start listening to your inner man or woman. That's what they're going to tell you. So that's someone that I would say, you know what? Maybe listen to them, but also, what did I say yesterday? Chew on the meat and spit out the bones, right? Because your truth is not the same as someone else's truth, right? Just like the truth for me, back squats, I don't feel quads firing, sorry, but that's not other people's truth. So good for them and good for me.
Yeah, so you were able to gather a bunch of information, and then because you trust yourself and you feel your body, you were able to filter all that information through your specific experience and then figure out exactly what worked for you.
Yeah, with the squat, and then also with the obsessive protein intake. Like it doesn't work for me. I always prioritize protein, always. But I'm not going to eat protein in excess where I'm belching it up and I'm feeling gross and I'm bloated just because some person said, if you don't hit 130 grams, then you're just a fucking loser. Yeah. You're just, do you even know fitness? I mean, jeez. It's just absurd to me to think that I would abandon myself to listen to someone else on any level with any topic ever again in my motherfucking life. Did I make that point clear? And I would say the same for the listener, for you guys out there. Do not abandon your truth, especially if you're on that journey to self-awareness. I don't care if it's talking protein, food, I don't care. Do not abandon yourself and glob on to someone outside of you who is an expert, is an influencer, is anything that's going to have you completely abandon yourself. Because then you're going to have to deal with that later on, because it's going to come back again, because lessons just circle and circle and circle until you fucking learn them. So learn from me. Don't do that. Grab that lesson now. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to like, share, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. Follow us on all of our social media. And reach out. Yeah, reach out.
Send us emails.
And also, just a shameless plug for Rebuilt. If you're someone who is self-motivated, needs guidance, and doesn't have a program, and you're wanting to transform your life, we do have men's version and women's version of Rebuilt on our website, cjelevatedlife.com. Correct? Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, what are you pointing at? The thing behind you. Anyway, where we walk alongside you. We're not dragging you. We're not pushing you. And within that program, we're constantly telling you what. Look within. Listen to your body. Yeah. Yes. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.
And we will talk to you soon.